Hiya, I'm Jasper, and welcome to video review for Green Lantern. Yes, the Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern. So, as always, I'm going to give you the good, the bad, and the furry. To start off the furry, there's several species that are very anthropomorphic, furry-esque species in this, but they don't have a whole lot of screen time. So, moving on to the good and the bad. So, I decided to rewatch this movie to see if it was as bad as Ryan Reynolds clearly feels it is, and how the rest of the world feels it is. But I'm like, it's been a few years. Maybe it was just harshly judged. Maybe I remember having a couple problems with it, but let me see if maybe now that I've seen Ant-Man, if maybe this movie is any better. So, yes and no. Mostly no. So here are just some of the problems that this movie has. Is that one, a lot of the scenes are set on a dark planet, and that dark planet and the scenes that are set on them has about Ant-Man 3 level of bad CGI and character on just an empty set with a green screen background. So, and there's way too many scenes set there with that to not be distracting and a detriment to the overall movie. And then also, the villain, the big bad villain, is a giant, goofy looking head. So even though it does have a sufficiently deep voice to be intimidating, it's too goofy looking. I've never read any DC comics. I have no idea how closely they aligned or didn't align with what the comics were. But for example, in Superman, the latest one with Henry Cavill and all that jazz, they took off the underwear because they couldn't make the underwear not look dumb as shit. So you can change things and still have it have the comic book origin. So I don't know if any of this movie was super strict or super not, but I hope that it was to the comic for why they had such a goofy looking head for that alien. And then also, and I think one of the main problems with this movie is that they cannot decide on the tone, because Ryan Reynolds is amazing in this. As he can be. So Ryan Reynolds' quips are always funny, always awesome. But when he's not quipping, the whole rest of this movie is shot extremely seriously, with a little bit of horror elements, but just super world-ending stakes, and everybody's serious, and so many bad things are happening. So they have this serious things going on, and people are losing their jobs, except for. And Ryan Reynolds is also taking things seriously, and he does a good job of that, serious business, except for when he's quipping. Oh, and except for whenever he ever uses the ring, they're like, hey, let's have him just have the goofiest fucking possible interpretation of what to use here. So, we're going to have a Hot Wheels car thing, Hot Wheels car track situation, save a helicopter from exploding. I feel if with how serious you're shooting the movie, the goofiness just doesn't track with this. And so that's kind of one of the main problems. Some of the other problems is the mini boss guy. He is completely and utterly unintimidating. It's like when you have John Malkovich be a bad guy. I'm not scared. I'm just not. I don't know who thinks that John Malkovich is scary, but he's not. But they spend a lot of time on this mini boss, building him up. But who is intimidated by the Elephant Man? Nobody is intimidated by the Elephant Man. I'm sorry, but the Elephant Man is not intimidating, and they did not build up his powers enough to make him intimidating. And one of my complaints that I remember from the very first time that I watched this, and my complaint has not changed with this, is that the lanterns look extremely underpowered. Because supposedly there's 3,600 of them protecting the entire universe, right? So you have your sector with what you can imagine would be tens of billions of people, hundreds of planets, maybe thousands of planets, I don't know, and you're responsible to protect them all from galactic threats. And they just feel so underpowered when fighting each other, fighting things. So for a laugh or a gag, it was funny, but. So they did this thing where, and you've probably seen it from the trailers at this point, but Ryan Reynolds, he's okay, check this out. Bah! And then nothing happens. So he's oh, wait. And he touches the ring to the lantern to charge it, because basically, the will of the universe is concentrating on this planet, and then the lantern basically charges in the planet, and then they take the lanterns with them to wherever they're at, and then that's like their big battery, and then they charge their ring up periodically as they need to. So what you've done when you establish that, like, he only had his suit on for a little while after charging it the first time. He only had it on for like a little tiny bit, and then he does, oh, it's out of juice. Let me just charge it up real fast. Like, you've now established that they burn through that energy horrendously quick, which makes them even more underpowered. But just for even ignoring that, like, even if you're just like, oh, well, the ring just wasn't fully charged when he did that things, and then international travel, like, blah, 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 like, fine. You want to try and explain that away? But even with that, like, there's a scene where Ryan Reynolds, when he has his Green Lanternness on, he gets, like, a couple of metal canisters thrown at him, like, slower than the speed of sound by Elephant Man, and it nearly takes him out. Like, it stuns him, knocks him almost unconscious, throws him across the room. Like, you're supposed to be protecting a 1/3600th of the known universe from galactic level threats, and metal canisters thrown by the Elephant Man is taking you out. Like, bro. So that altogether are my main issues with this film. So Ryan Reynolds, as much as I love him, as good a job as he has done and did with this, and yeah, I think he met Blake Lively on the set, like his wife or whatever, but congratulations to him. But man, I agree with him and with all the rest of the critics that this movie is it's still not good because tone, CGI, the villains that they chose, and how they shot things, and then just the power level shown. It just does not work. So still 2 thumbs down, still don't bother watching it. As if you needed more reasons not to watch it. But that's all I have for this one. Thanks for coming. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you in the next one. Bye.